is the Writer's Almanac for Friday, the 5th of February, 2021. It was on this date in 1936 Charlie Chaplin's film Modern Times opened in New York City. It was the last film in which his character, the Little Tramp, appeared, and it was the only film to include Chaplin's voice. Talkies had been around since 1927, but Chaplin held out for silent movies. He thought that dialogue was not important to the sort of comedy that he made. In 1931, he had released City Lights, a silent movie in defiance of the trend toward sound in movie making. But by 1934, he'd realized that the days of the silent movie had passed. So he wrote a dialogue script for Modern Times. In the end, used almost none of it. In the movie, the Little Tramp is working in a factory doing a repetitive task, which he has to do faster and faster to satisfy his foreman, which drives him mad, and he becomes a cog in the great machine of industry. Eventually finds happiness in an anarchist lifestyle with his co-star Paulette Goddard, and they walk off into the sunset to the strains of the song Smile, which is sung by the Tramp and which was composed by Charlie Chaplin. Here's a poem for today by Kate Barnes, entitled Imagining It. At 18 in Paris, I woke up out of a dream just before dawn and stepped through the long window from my cold room with its red silk walls. Shivering a little in my dressing gown, I leaned on the balustrade, and look, overnight, a light snow had fallen. No car had driven over it yet. It lay in the street, as white, as innocent, as snow on the open fields. Then something approached with a calm rhythm of hoofbeats, made softer by the snow, the sound of a quiet heart. It was a heaped-up wood cart, pulled by a gray horse, who walked along slowly, head down, while the driver sat at the back of one shaft and hunched over to light his cigarette. From above, I saw clearly the lit match in the old man's cupped hands, its glow on his long jaw, the small well of flame between his living palms, like the flare of the soul in the body. He went on down the street, and the sky went on growing lighter, and I saw how he left his dark tracks behind him on the whiteness of the snow, just the lines of the two wheels slightly wavering, and the dints of the horse's hooves between them, a writing in an undiscovered language, something whose meaning we feel sure we know and still can't quite translate. When I stepped inside again, I stopped thinking about love for a minute. I thought about it almost all the time then, and thought instead about being alive for a while in a world with cobblestones, new snow, and the unconscious poem printed by hooves on the maiden street. Of course, I was not yet ready to be grateful. A poem entitled Imagining It by Kate Barnes from her collection Where the Deer Were, published by David R. Godine Publisher and used by permission here on the Writer's Almanac. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.